Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Shannon McDonald, and you have reached the Leadership and Management webinar series this morning. I am the Associate Director for Corporate Education and Custom Training at UC San Diego Extension, and I want to say thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come hear about the wonderful topic of building a customer service culture. Our speaker today is Lisa Gordon. She is the founder and CEO of Lisa Inspires. She has been an instructor with Extension for a couple of years now, and she is a wonderful speaker, and we're so happy that she's going to be with us today to share her expertise with you. So before we get started, I just wanted to review the agenda real quick. So welcome again. I wanted to let you know that the session is being recorded today and be made available to you after today's webinar. For those of you who are in attendance, you'll receive an email actually with the link to the session in probably in about 7 days or so. So expect that in your inbox. In addition, any resources that Lisa is able to provide, you'll also receive those in an email as well. Then we're going to talk about a little bit about UC San Diego Extension just for a couple minutes, and then we'll get into the presentation. And then we'll end today's session with a question and answer period, and we're going to encourage you to use the chat box for that. So any questions that you have, feel free to pop those in there throughout the session, any comments you have, and we will get to those at the end. All right. So a little bit about UCSD Extension. We are the continuing education arm of the university. We've been around for about 60 years now, which is incredible to say. We really focus on professional development and personal enrichment programs. We actually have 4,500 different courses and about 100 different certificate programs that really focus in on current and cutting edge skills. They're taught by practitioners in the field, so they're highly practical and are taught by people such as Lisa. So we're really fortunate to have folks who can tie in real world experiences into the theory that is inside of these classes. All right. Part of that portfolio I just mentioned, that some of the programs we have are leadership programs, which ties into these very topics that we have during this webinar series. So I just wanted to let you know that we have a variety of different program options. We have this Leadership and Management Essentials series, which houses these webinars and expanded workshops that we offer. We also have a Leadership and Teamwork certificate that's really geared towards emerging leaders. It's a 3-course online certificate program focusing in on leadership, teamwork, and project management. And then we have our 2 flagship programs for middle managers and executives called the LAMP, or Leadership and Management Program, and the EPSI program, which is Executive Perspective for Scientists and Engineers. Both programs have been around for 35 years and are very comprehensive and ones you should look at if you're interested in building those leadership and management skills. All these programs can be brought to you on site. As I mentioned, I'm the Director for Corporate Education, and so I just wanted to let you know any of these things that you see today or as part of Extension can be brought to your organization, fully customized and brought to you in various formats, modalities, and we bring in consultants and faculty to help teach and design and deliver these programs. Finally, the Leadership and Webinar series will continue. We have another one coming in October, and don't worry, there are more to come, so keep checking back at that website at the bottom there, extension.ucsd.edu/levelup. You can also go to that website to review any of the past webinars we've had, which now there's quite the arsenal of offerings there. I think we have about a dozen up there for your viewing now, so feel free to go ahead and visit there and check out all the things we have. All right. I am through here. I want to turn it over to Lisa Gordon, who you all have been waiting for, and she will be talking again about building a customer service culture. Take it away, Lisa.
Yes, hello everyone. I am very excited to be with you I'm here in San Diego. Where are you? I always like to introduce myself as a very proud 4th generation San Diegan. I am homegrown and I am a very proud graduate of UCSD with a bachelor's degree in communication, and then went off to also get my master's degree in organizational leadership. A little bit more about me, and then we will dive in here, but I like to share that I've worked, lived, and played in San Diego all of my life. I've never lived anywhere else. Played a lot of other places, but have never lived and worked in other areas. I would want to share with you that I have worked in a variety of roles and responsibilities and on behalf of a variety of entities. So I've worked on behalf of a mayor, a city, a school district, a nonprofit organization, a retail establishment, a radio station, a public agency, and on behalf of thousands of small businesses. So what I love about that is that I feel like I'm able to relate to so many of you and the types of roles or responsibilities you have or the types of industries that you are in. And so I'm very excited to inspire you and empower you, further equip you, reignite your relationship with your customer service culture. And not only externally, but internally within your corporation or organization. So this is about rethinking your customer service culture, externally and internally. This whole period of time, I think, is such a great way to think about this topic. And I think it's a great way to rethink about this topic. This pandemic has really created this opportunity for us to rethink, right? And how are we showing up in the workplace and with our teams and with our clients and our customers? So this is not just about if you are in sales or marketing, right? Customer service. This is across the board. This applies to whether you are working for a nonprofit organization, you're working for a corporate entity, government, etc. So I want to start off with a little bit of a quote that kind of is insight into the philosophy that we're going to discuss about customer service culture. And that is, life is an echo. What you send out comes back. There is more to the rest of this quote. And I've seen this accredited to as a Chinese proverb, but I've also seen this accredited to Zig Ziglar. And the rest of the quote goes on to say, what you sow, you reap. What you give, you get. What you see in others exists in you. And remember that life is an echo. It always comes back to you. So give goodness. So I want you to think about, what are you giving right now in terms of your customer service experience, externally to your corporation and internally to your corporation, or externally in your organization, or externally, right? Internally or externally in your organization. What are you sending out? I would like to start with a poll to help get us centered on what you are currently thinking about your customer service culture. So please get out your cell phones. And also, I would like for you to grab 2 pieces of paper. Make sure you have 2 pieces of paper readily available. One of them is for you to take notes, and the other is for you to actually diagram out when we get to that part of the training. So 2 pieces of paper and your cell phone. Right now you need your cell phone, and I would like for you to text to this number. 22333 is your number that you're texting to. And in the body of the text, please put Lisa G635. Again, you're texting to 22333. And in the body of the text, Lisa G635. You should receive a response back. Can you let me know in the chat box? Say, yes, I'm ready for the poll, or yes, something in the chat box that you are ready and you've received a response back. All right, it's looking like people are ready to go. Here we go with our first question. I want you to think about one word that describes, Sorry about that. And we have a test one already there. One word that describes your current workplace culture, your organizational culture. One word. Some people think of it as workplace culture. Some people call it organizational culture. What would be your one word? When you're thinking about organizational culture, I want you to think broadly across your organization or across your corporation. How would you describe that culture right now in a more broad brush stroke, if you will? Sometimes it's hard to capture in one word, so I understand if some of you are struggling a little bit. All right, looks like we are stopped here. Still growing, still thinking, and that's good. Keep it coming. But let's take a look here. Some of the words that are stronger, bigger, because more people have perhaps also shared that word in common with you in describing their organizational culture. So caring, that's great to see. Traditional, very interesting that you chose that word. Teamwork, that's good to know. That's still going on, especially in these times that we're in. Cliquish. And I found user-centric to be very intriguing. I want to know more. What did you mean by that? Perfection. I love that someone is feeling that way about their organizational culture. Supportive, demanding, but immense. Very intriguing. Let's go on to the next poll question. And now I want you to think of a word that describes your customer service culture external to your organization. That means your clients, your customers, people that you serve. Whether you're nonprofit, whether you're a government entity, whether you are a corporate entity, what would be the one word that you would describe that describes your current customer service culture? I'm liking that responsive is quite large in terms of how you're serving, right? Your customers, your clients. Loyal. It's good to see that. That is your word. Exceptional. But then we also have the other side of the fence where we're looking at some of your customer service culture right now is bureaucratic and reactive. Changing. Let's go on to one last word cloud question. And that is where I want you to shift here, your mindset and your thinking, because some of you may have not thought about this or thought in this way before. You have a customer service culture within your organization or corporation. And this relates to your relationships, your behaviors, your conduct, how you're treating each other in the workplace. So I would like for you to think about that one word that describes your current customer service culture internally within your workplace, within your department, within broadly. You can also think about this broadly within the entire organization or corporation. Hmm. This is very interesting to me because to see your words change from the first to the second to this third question here, and then thinking about internally what's going on as you carry out your roles and your responsibilities and you're working internally with others to meet the needs of your clients and your customers. What's going on internally? So we have lacking, difficult and distant and strained and siloed. So I'm hoping this is sparking the question of why, right? Why and how is this internal customer internal customer service culture this way? Why is it this way, yet it's uniquely different when we talk about it externally? Why aren't they aligned? What's going on here? This whole training is really an opportunity for you to focus on the interconnectedness of your customer service culture internally and externally, and how through looking at the internal culture, right, it can pave the way, and focusing on that internal culture, it can pave the way to greater customer service culture externally. All right, so mediocre, difficult, still responsive, which that's good, that's going on as well, and adapting. All right, thank you for that last question. And this is not a word, you don't have to think about a word now. All I want you to say is yes or no. Do you know your mission? Do you know your vision? Do you know the values? Could you recite your mission, vision, values? If someone walked up to you right now, could you recite the mission, vision, or values of your organization? We still see some words going here. Now that I've talked about it, now we're sparking some more thought here on this question. But we need to go to this next question. And that is, this was an example. We just had one person test this out. But is your current customer service culture aligned with your mission, vision, or values? Is your customer service culture your aligned with your mission, vision, and values? What's going on here? Are some of you thinking, what is our mission statement? Or what is our vision statement? You know, I need to revisit that. Is it aligned with your customer service culture? Okay, we will pause here, and you can still keep the questions going, but I'm going to say that since it seems like we have a stop in the responses here, a pause in the responses. So 67%, that's pretty great. But we still have 33% with no. And so my question would be why? What's going on here? In order to talk about your customer service culture, you have to talk about your organizational culture, and you have to talk about your internal customer service culture. So let's revisit what organizational culture is for just a few minutes. And before we do that, I want to just take you on a little bit of a journey in thinking about customer service and customer service culture. You all have sort of a starting point and an ending point for how someone, right, or some entity becomes your client or customer. It's this relationship that you build over time. So it starts out with an awareness, right? Then someone is interested in your product or service. So we're just talking about this customer service journey externally right now. They have an interest in your product or service. They start thinking about whether or not they really want your product or service, and then weighing the pros and cons of it, maybe the expense of it. And then they decide, they make that decision of becoming your client, becoming your customer, obtaining your product or your service, right? And then there is this point of follow-up, right, with how does the client like the product or service? And perhaps do they need more, right? Or do they want to have some other options about some other products or services that you offer? And then they repurchase, right? They come back to you for more. So this is kind of the customer journey in general and the customer service journey in general. So what I want you to think about is some of these questions you could be asking yourself right now. Perhaps you don't really have this clearly outlined. What is the journey that you want your customer to go on with you? What is the experience that you want them to have with your company, with your organization? And what is that process? What is this relationship is really what we're creating here. What is this relationship that you want to create with your customer, with your client? And what is that experience about that's going to build trust, right? Or build loyalty or create loyalty within your program or within your products or within your services. Okay, so that's the customer service journey. And now we're going to plug in that organizational culture on top of this. What is organizational culture? How does it relate? What is the interconnectedness of this? So let's explore and rethink organizational culture for a few moments. I'm going to actually read a definition to you. And this to me is the most powerful, meaningful, comprehensive explanation of what organizational culture is. So here we go. Organizational culture includes an organization's expectations, experiences, philosophy, and values. Values and behaviors that contribute to the unique social and psychological environment of the organization that holds it together and is expressed in its self-image, inner workings, interactions with the outside world, and future expectations. Organizational culture is based on shared beliefs, values, customs, and written and unwritten rules that have been developed over time and are considered valid. Corporate culture, organizational culture is demonstrated in the ways that the company or organization demonstrates or conducts its business, how it treats its employees, its customers, its wider community. It is the extent to which freedom is allowed in decision making, developing new ideas, and personal expression. It's how power flows through its hierarchy. It's how committed the employees are to the collective goals and objectives. And finally, it is the culture that affects the organization's productivity and performance. It provides guidelines on customer care and service, safety in the workplace, attendance, punctuality, and finally, concern for the environment. I hope your mind is like blown and exploding right now about what organizational culture really is. And have you really thought about all of those elements of organizational culture? How it impacts, how it influences, what it's influenced by. Organizational culture shapes our behavior, how we conduct ourselves. It impacts so many different things, how we engage with people, our teams, how we manage, how we communicate, how we implement that change process or those change initiatives. It also impacts how we lead. Organizational culture is also cyclical, and it's constantly evolving and being influenced by views. What are the perceptions of the organization or corporation? What are the expectations? What do people think outside of the organization or corporation? What do they think about it? Internally, what do they think about it? What do they believe about it? It's influenced by the mission and vision and the values, how the organization is structured, the hierarchy, the norms and beliefs. This is the way we do things. This is the way we think. This is how we manage. This is how we handle conflict or not. This is the way we respond. And then these are the systems and processes in place to help us organize and be the choice, right? The company or the organization of choice through to our clients and our customers. And what are the, what are those systems and processes in place that are influencing that organizational culture, making it more effective and more efficient? And the flip side, maybe there's the lack thereof, or maybe there are some challenges within the systems and processes that are impacting the organizational culture, which causes a ripple effect in the customer service culture. And then finally, management and leadership is always influencing that organizational culture. How is the organization managed or led? So I just want you to plug into 8 elements of organizational culture right now, because these are you're going to see these plugged into the customer service culture in a little bit. So 8 elements of organizational culture, and this we'll do really quick. This is kind of like the ingredients of organizational culture. Mission, vision, values, perspectives and assumptions, the goals and objectives are a part of this. How the organization or corporation is performing, what is the productivity level at? And then this can translate potentially into sales, right, and numbers. What is the workplace setting that you are in that is contributing to, in a good way or in a bad way, right, to the customer service culture, right, internally, which influences the organizational culture, which also influences the external customer service culture, right? So then you have management, leadership, communication, and of course, the way that the organization is organized. So there's your 8 that you're going to see shortly as we talk about the 7 steps to building a customer service culture. So that's our next thing. And the first step to building a customer service culture is taking another look, rethinking your mission, vision, and values, and whether or not they are aligned. And that is the question I asked you in your poll, right? Is your mission, vision, values aligned with your customer service culture? So rethinking that, looking at the purpose and the existence of your organization, your beliefs about the organization, internally, externally, right? The mission, vision, values should be embedded into the organizational culture, okay? And embedded in how people are conducting themselves in the workplace, how they're treating each other in the workplace, but also how they're treating the customers externally, right? The mission, vision, values drive those goals and objectives. and should be embedded in the systems and processes. That mission, vision, values ignites, right? It helps people embrace and gets people engaged, right? And focused on that, carrying out the mission, vision, values. So is your mission, vision, values, are those aligned with your customer service culture? Number two, your second step for building a customer service culture is taking another look at your goals and objectives and looking at the alignment and the interconnectedness once again. So obviously, do you have goals and objectives that are actually written about your customer service culture? What are the goals and objectives of your customer service culture? What do you want it to be? What needs to change? And then being able to communicate with clarity about those goals and objectives that you have about your customer service culture. We want to reach this number of people. We want to receive this many testimonials, or we want to feature, X, Y, and Z client and customer. What are those types of goals or numbers that you want to, goals and objectives that you want to set that are going to help you see, right, and measure the customer service culture internally and externally to your organization. All of these goals and objectives should be woven into the daily activities, right? So that everyone is focused daily on what they need to do to achieve those customer service culture goals and objectives. Obviously, you'll have measurement tools to do that, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and probably milestones surrounding it. Third step to building a customer service culture is knowing your audience. And I love to talk about this. This is one of my favorite things. Do you know the who, what, where, why, when, and how of thy audience? This is more than knowing who they are, how old they are, age range. This is more than knowing someone's title in the workplace, right? This is way beyond that, right? So if you know that they're male, female, they're between the ages of 25 and 35, and they live in San Diego. That's not enough, people. Again, I want to take you beyond. Knowing the who is, yes, who they are, maybe it is their title or their position. If you're thinking about this internally, because remember, as customer service culture, you could be just taking a look at your customer service culture internally. Who are they? What is their role and responsibility? How long have they been at the organization or corporation, right? And what is their daily activities like? Who are they report to? How much do you interact with them? Why would you need to interact with them? What are their interests? What are their needs, right? So that's knowing the who, what, where, when, why, and how of thy audience. And you apply that again out to your external audience, okay? And you actually take the time out to write the answers of the who, what, where, why, when, and how. How is a good question to ask. How are they going to be impacted? How are they going to feel about this decision? Okay, so that may be some internal for your internal customer service culture. Your external customer service culture would be how are they going to feel when they use our product or our service? Or how do they feel right now, right? And then that plugs into the why. Why do they need our product or our service, right? So really taking the time to go who, what, where, why, when, and how about thy audience. Thinking about their attributes, thinking about their characteristics, thinking about the level of customer service that you're currently providing to them. How can you better serve them? And again, I talked about what are their interests, what are their needs, and how can you plug into that in a conversation, right? And then also in writing. Okay, so if you're thinking about internal audience, your customer service culture internally, you are sending emails all the time, right? To your internal audience. What is the voice? What is the tone that best speaks to them and speaks to their interests and speaks to their needs? Same thing externally. What is the voice and tone? that speaks to the interest and needs of your external clients and customers. Think about what is it that you have to offer? What is it that you have to give, right? Instead of being like, what do you want to get? What do you want to get? We want the sell, right? We want them to sign up for more classes, right? What is the get? What is the give? What do you have to offer, right? And then in the context of knowing your audience, you're thinking about how can we build trust and create loyalty so that they want to come back again, again, and again. The fourth step of building a customer service culture, and I'm going to have some examples for you here, are rules of engagement. Do you have written rules of engagement? What are rules of engagement? Let's rethink this for a minute. Basically, it's code of conduct, how you're going to behave, respond, interact internally within your organization and or externally beyond and out to your customers and clients, right? So it's operating principles to guide your conduct. It's about guiding those relationships as you carry out your roles, your responsibilities, your duties. Rules of engagements are clear expectations, and they should, again, these are written, right? And accountability, okay? They were written in a very accountable manner, okay? This again is, if you're thinking about what are rules of engagements, just how we are going to guide our behavior with each other, how we're going to work together, okay? So if you want to think about some examples, here they are. Here are some examples of rules of engagements in case you're wondering. Do we have these written somewhere? Because if not, we should possibly consider. Here's a good one. We will ensure our energies focus on our mission statement, goals, and principles. Or we will achieve our goals through knowledge-based decision making. How about this one? We will value diversity and the differences that bring unique and other than our own perspectives to our work, discussions, and decisions. Or we will be innovative and progressive in a responsible manner. Can be as simple as that, or right, or a little bit more focused on, you know, the specific behaviors. I have three last ones for you as an examples. We will work toward consensus. While valuing diverse constructive opinions, we will respect and support the decisions of the group. We will function as a team with a commitment to excellence. Okay. Or finally, this is my favorite one, we will treat each other with trust, respect, and dignity, working together with openness, honesty, and integrity, while fostering camaraderie and mutual support. Do you have rules of engagement written, written rules of engagement as part of your internal, right, interworkings, because your interworkings and your internal, right, communications and how you are behaving and interacting with each other can have a very interconnected or have an impact on how you are working externally and serving your clients and customers. The next one is your communication and your leadership. Taking another look here at from your lens of your customer service culture, what's going on with our communication and our leadership, right? So reviewing, taking the time out to review and assess, and then plugging back in, okay, our organizational culture is like this right now, right? Okay, why? Okay, what is the communication like right now, right? Is it clear? Is it transparent? Is it flowing? Is it disruptive? Is it a challenging work environment? And for some of you, it may be right now, right? And that may be contributing to a poor customer service culture right now internally in your organization, right? So again, plugging in and thinking about the communication and the leadership and as it relates to the customer service culture. Okay, so you see the decision-making process and how that also can influence and impact customer service culture internally, right? And again, ultimately might be impacting externally. Okay, so you see that the workplace morale is connected and a part of this and how you are treating each other internally and externally. All right, our sixth step is to building a customer service culture is to actually have a customer service culture action plan. You're going to be working on elements of a customer service culture action plan shortly. So I will give you the details on that in just a minute. And the seventh and final step of building a customer service culture is measurement. You've got to have measurement. Why are you doing this, right? So for some of you who are thinking like, wow, you know, I hadn't thought about this before, and I hadn't really thought about a customer service culture and what it is. It's not clearly defined. It's not written. We don't have goals and objectives around it. Okay, so some of you are thinking, I'd like to do that just internally within our department. That could be a way to start this. Some of you are in a position to present this to leadership, right? Or some of you are already, right, decision makers in your organization or corporation to make a determination. We actually want to have a customer service culture, a clearly written customer service culture for our workplace and our audience externally, okay? And we're gonna create a customer service culture action plan, okay? So you obviously have to have ways to measure and evaluate that. So these are kind of, I think, obvious, but the types of tools that you could have to measure, right, are surveys, testimonials. If you have some success stories related to this new customer service culture that you're creating in your workplace or out to your external audience, you would have some success stories to share about it. A certain number maybe were set in terms of your goals and objectives. Maybe increased productivity will give you an indicator that your customer service culture is, you know, your new customer service culture or your action plan is working. Increased productivity could show that. Increased sales could show that. Increased number of registrations could show that. All of that could be a way of measuring your customer service culture. Obviously, you're going to need the buy-in from your staff, your teams, and or your whole organization or corporation to create this customer service culture. Milestones and markers, right, along the way. Being really clear, consistent about this customer service culture, the goals that we have surrounding it, as well as your role in this customer service culture and understanding that, right? Your ways to measure are going to be the feedback, right? The feedback that you're receiving about this customer service culture that you have clearly written and articulated that you are carrying out internally and externally. And of course, you got to celebrate along the way as you meet the goals and objectives of your customer service culture and your customer service culture action plan. So those were the 7 steps to building a customer service culture. And I have them just summarized here for you again. And what you're going to do now is you're going to be working on elements. So get out that piece of paper. You're going to be drawing a diagram. So if I have a piece of paper, I would put it in a landscape mode, right? So you want to have it this way because you're going to be drawing out a diagram, right? Not portrait. So let's do landscape. And this is the diagram we're going to be working through. And I'm going to take you through each one and give you a few minutes to just brainstorm out, right, whatever comes to mind. And we're just going to be like 2 minutes on each one of these. Okay, so here we go. What I want you to decide is whether or not you're going to think about your external clients and customers and your customer service culture externally, or do you want to do your customer service culture internally? So pick your audience, pick who you're going to do this diagram for, external or internal. And right now, I want you to start on the description of that audience, the description of your external customers or your internal customers. Okay, the who, what, where, why, when, and how. Whatever comes to mind, write it down now. Again, that was who are they, where are they, what do they need, what are they interested in, what do they need to know about your product, your service, your project, your program. How are they going to feel? How are they going to implement? How are they going to change? How are they going to be impacted? Why? Why do they need your product or service? Why do they need to interact with you? Why do they need to find out more? Okay, let's go on to their specific interest, their specific needs. And this really gets to the why of your product or service, or why you're communicating with them, or why you need them, why you need their expertise if you're thinking about your internal customers. So what are their specific interests or needs? Let's go on to the customer service culture that you would like to create. What is it? What is that ideal customer service culture? What does it look like? Internally or externally, depending upon which customer base you've chosen. And let's move on to the who of your customer service culture that you would like to create. Whose buy-in do you need for this new customer service culture that you want to create? Is it your leadership team, right? Is it just within your department or within your specific teams? Who are they? Make a list. Who's buying? Who's going to need to be on board? Who do you need to have their support on this customer service culture that you want to create? And our last section here, what are the rules of engagement? Or what are the rules of engagement that you like to create as part of your customer service culture or your customer service culture action plan? What I want to do for you here is take you back to those examples, and what you can do is write your example down, write an example down because this takes time. So you're not going to have these ready to go in a minute, right? So within the time frame that we are talking about these rules of engagement, just reminding you what they are, right? They're operating principles to guide your conduct, your behavior internally and or externally to your customers, right? So let me give you the examples, and then you can just decide or you can start working on, if you're ready to go and you know what you want to write. Absolutely. So here are 4 examples of some rules of engagement. I'll give you a moment to write those down just as examples, so then when you come back to this, you'll be able to have a reference point. And I will switch to the other slide in 1 minute if you would like to take those down instead. I'm not asking you to write all of these, just pick 1 or 2, okay? And I'm going to go to the other slide with the other 3. So you get the idea here, and we got to start wrapping it up and give you just a few moments for some questions. But what I ultimately am leading you to here is your customer service culture action plan. And what does that look like? It has the elements of what we just worked on as part of your diagramming. I'm just scrolling through the slides to our final slide here, and that is your customer service culture action plan. Here they are, your mission, vision, values, your goals and objectives, speaking to the audience's interests and needs, and actually having all of this written out. And these are the elements of your customer service culture action plan. You see your rules of engagement. Who do you need to buy in on your customer service culture action plan? What is your communication plan about this? Measurement and evaluation. Finally, I want to wrap with some tips and ideas on building trust and creating customer loyalty. We all could refresh, right, on some tips to create loyalty. So basically, it's all about, again, speaking to their interests, speaking to their needs, right, in all your communications with them, understanding, right, that customer journey that you're taking them on, understanding what the customer experience you want them to have with your corporation or organization, being consistent, transparent in all of your communications, demonstrating that you care, right, showing appreciation for the relationship, and finally, being there when they need you. That responsiveness matters, right? And all of this is not going to happen overnight. Trust is achieved over time. So with that, I will wrap and remind you of the quote that we started with, that life is an echo, what you send out comes back. Questions, reflections, or takeaways? Give it to me in the chat box, please.
Thanks, Lisa. There's been a couple questions come through, so I'll start with this first one. My organization used to do a lot of training and education, but now we can only do digital based on company policy. So the service is just not the same, or the digital is not as engaging, or we have digital burnout. Any advice?
Wow. I would think about what is the interaction been? First of all, taking a look at, like, doing an assessment on that digital interaction. What are people saying? What are they not saying? What do you need from it? Like, it's just kind of a reevaluate this whole digital interaction that we're having, and how are we not meeting needs here in this. So I would just take a reevaluation, a reassessment of what's going on here, so then you can get to the root of what you need to address. That's the best I can do based on the limited information I know about your company or organization or the technology. I hope that's helpful.
We're all going through a little bit of over digital burnout, right?
Yes, we are. And that, some people are zoomed out too, right?
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
I'm focusing on internal customer service. What is the best way to keep motivated when you don't get everyone to buy in?
Well, gosh, I would have to bring everyone back. Can you bring back people back together and have a discussion about what's not working? Why, maybe we need to have, a call to action here. So a meeting about it. Figuring out, again, getting to the root of the issue. Okay. So you can address it.
Joanna was, I think, commenting to that first question, and she says, training, we take the first few minutes for an icebreaker, cameras on, mics on, and try to make it interactive, plus take breaks. And I agree, you gotta break it up and
absolutely
have a moment.
That's right. And so, like, with this training, I tried to get you engaged, through the polls, right, and get you thinking, and I'm trying to challenge you, and then, getting people in that chat, right, sometimes have a video, sometimes have someone take over, there's a variety of ways to kind of bring more action and activity and interaction to your trainings and to your Zoom experiences.
Absolutely. Well, I don't see any more in here, and I know we are over time. So in the interest of respecting people's time, I want to thank everybody for coming today. We're thankful for Lisa for sharing her expertise on this important topic and getting us to think outside the box. And really the exercise, I think, is so important to go through creating that action plan. And I hope you all do take action on that. For those of you that did attend today, again, don't forget, we will be sending out some of these slides along with any resources, and I think that diagram will be included in that. So you
Yes.
can, and you should receive that in your inbox tomorrow. So thank you again. Thank you, Lisa, again.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Most of the leadership programs, just as a reminder that we have those if you want to continue your studies in this wonderful area and continue to focus on your professional skills, do take advantage of those. And I think that's it. Thank you guys again. We look forward
Thank you.
to the next webinar, and Lisa and all have a wonderful day.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Bye.